Yes guys, how are we doing? So today's YouTube is going to be talking about the capabilities of Claude AI since it integrated co-work and code. And I want to do this as a really soft, easy introduction because I think one thing that's happening with people at the moment is they are getting really overwhelmed with how much you can do and not actually understanding the ability of just nailing the basics of it. So when you've got your Claude app, as you'll basically see here, you've got your chat, you've got your co-work, and then you've got code up at the top, right? If we're going to go into code, this gets a little bit more complex. If I just drag this over to this side of the screen here, as you will see, you have to use your terminal to get it set up, and then you've basically got your VS Code here as well, where you can start doing some absolutely mad level shit. Like I have literally just built a comprehensive step-by-step Claude project plan with code and HTML alongside the exact instructions for my clients to have in every single one of their structures, which I used to have to do a few months ago manually, whereas now I can just literally get it done straight away, which is absolutely fucking wild. But that's the type of stuff that you can do with Claude code, but we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about the basics of the functionality with capabilities of what you can actually do with it. So on Claude now, since code and ability, it can do anything, guys. I mean, like anything that you want, it can do for you. There's not a single thing in your business that this cannot affect and cannot benefit and save time, come with a level of precision and accuracy that I've never seen before in my life. But it just comes down to understanding how to use it. So with Claude Code now, you can process multiple different file outputs. So what that basically means is you can download a direct Word document, you can process a PDF branded if you want. Something that I commonly use is a markdown document because it means that I can actually click it and copy it straight onto a Google sheet. So an MD document is really good. Obviously you can still process as text when you ask for it. You can process Excel sheets with formulas, charts. You can process different CSV sheets. You can put different data formats in, and you've also got the web element now, which is absolutely frightening, where you can process HTMLs with GitHub and loads of other different ones as well, and even down to PowerPoints. And when it comes to the code files, I'm not going to go over that today because I just don't think that it's needed, but you can also do diagrams, charts, everything. It is absolutely mental, right? So the first thing that I want you to do is just go down to the bottom here and then go on to settings, right? And then when you go into capabilities down here, you've got this ability where you can basically click on code execution and file creation. So what that will basically enable you to do is then to basically create a document, create a spreadsheet, create a presentation, create a PDF, create a data report, right? And then when you are communicating with the actual AI itself, right? So if I went back onto the screen that I was on a minute ago, I can't remember from the chat, as you can basically see here, I just prompted it saying, give me a list of all the functionality that you can do. Then I said, create it and turn it into an actual artifact so I can visually show you guys in this video easier. And then from that point, I said, right, now actually give me visual demos of how this would actually look once it is actually processed as well, right? So just as a little bit of a rule of thumb going back and forth in terms of iteration. So I think this is really important as well, because sometimes people, when they go into the prompting element, they forget about this. So when you are running an output, like I've just done for a client I'm onboarding today, which was basically a client called Liam, and I've processed his discovery documents, and the first thing that I wanted to do was create a comprehensive business report. So I asked it to build it me as a PDF branded in my logo. From that point, I wanted it to then use the information on that to give me a step-by-step to-do list. So I asked it to process me as an MD document so I can put it onto Google Word where I can just tick off different things. So what I want you to basically look at here is thinking about what type of outputs that you actually want, because when you look at it this type of perspective, building a lead magnet, building a live webinar, building a web page, building an interactive assessment, building client tools, building operational capability, it is the most ridiculous shit that I've ever seen. The highest value thing that I have found so far with Claude, without question, has been from a reporting perspective. So we basically put our P&L sheets together, because there's multiple different branches, into one Claude artifact project, and it will give me a comprehensive review over every single thing that's happening in my business and where I can invest and spend money, the same as where it would recommend me to be investing elsewhere from that point. I can process, if I went back onto my Claude projects here, I've also got this end of month reports. So this is something which is I built recently as a tool, right? And I can basically process an exact structure to build out a full-on growth report based on the feedback someone has given me on a month-to-month basis. So I can then now run a comprehensive review, which will then direct them to the actual systems and trainings within my community, because all I did from that point is I went on to my school. And again, little tiny things like this, what you can pick up, which make a massive difference. I opened up my school community, I click onto extensions, I click onto that Chrome extension, and then all I did is I asked Claude to then give me an overview of all of the trainings I have inside my school community. It took over my screen, then gave me a list. I then trained a project on that to then basically run the assessment on their end of month report. I then asked it to provide me with PDF outputs and structures. So the first place that I want you to start when you're looking at this next level of Claude, right, is to start basic, right? You do not need to be coming in with this crazy level stuff with Claude Code, VS, Terminal, GitHub, and all of that type of stuff. And we will start touching on that soon, don't get me wrong. But as a first starting point, the only thing that I want you to do, right, is I just want you to go onto settings, I want you to go onto capabilities, I want you to click onto the artifacts and everything else on there, and just literally put execution and file creation down. And then all I want you to do is I want you to start playing around with it, right? So if you go back onto this one here where my Claude was on a new chat. Ooh, this is where I normally get lost. There we are. So I found it again. All I want you to do is start requesting this. It will blow your mind. The amount of time that this will save you by having all of these sheets built, these PDFs built, these markdown documents built, these text documents built, like the time it takes, what I'd normally have to do is I would have to process an output on here. Or back in the day, guys, if you're not even using AI, like I can't even process that situation. But back in the day, I used to have to manually write all of this out, to then manually put it into presentations, or even previously I'd have to use Claude to give me an output to then process onto Gamma. Whereas now with Claude Code, and just with, and again, this is the really basic level stuff, that capability and functionality, but just start asking for different things. Generally just be like, can you process this as a PDF for me in these brand colors? Can you process this for me as a markdown document, which basically means that you can copy and paste it in the corner. So if I went onto like a chat and we'll just say, give me, we'll do some testing. I am looking to generate some example demos of Claude functionality, so keep the answers short. Give me Claude capabilities list as a MD document, right? So I use an MD document quite a lot. The rationale for that is my entire life and all my clients' businesses' lives are all inside of Google Drive. So I do a hell of a lot with Google Drive. So when it comes on to my emails, my lead magnets, my ad, my personal brand, my reporting, every single thing that I have inside Google is Google Drive. So sometimes I like to get requests as an MD, as a markdown document, because it means that I can literally just go copy in, paste, I can create a Google Word document, and then I can basically go on to that from there, right? So now I've created an easy Google Docs. That could be an SOP, it could be anything, right? So from that point, now let's go on to now can you build this as a PDF with this logo design, right? And remember, I'm barely giving it a single prompt here. I'm just for the demonstration of the video. So if I just go into that, I drag my logo into it. So rather than having to mess about, that can now build me an entire PDF within seconds. So when you start to think about this type of stuff, like you start to look at your own business, like I think people go wrong. They try and jump on what other people are doing when it comes to AI, right? And the most important thing that you need to do is look at your own business and remove all repeatable tasks. And then when you've removed all those repeatable tasks and you've bought so much time back, then you start to do the shit that you've never had time to do before. That is the biggest buyback that I've had for this. It means that I can do things that was never ever possible before, right? So I can genuinely show you this right now. This is going to be a new asset that I'm going to give into my community, which is a step-by-step structure on how to set up Claude projects at high level, right? I'll show you the current thing I've actually got inside my school community on this, because 6 to 8 months ago I had to do all of this manually. So I've got this full massive thing of how you can, don't get me wrong, you still need to have all of this IP for generating and training the projects, 100%. They're really important. But I can replace probably 5, 6, 7, 8 of these videos that I've got with that single step-by-step document, and I built that on Claude Code this morning in 5 minutes. Literally Claude Code, 5 minutes. That's a step-by-step, easy processing guide on how to set up all your projects. And I can legitimately say, if someone does that properly, it will completely and utterly change their life, right? Hands down. So now, as you can basically see, oh, has it failed? No, but that's just, I've given it a basic prompt. So I go back to that and say, the title's not formatted properly and the logo as well. Can you go back and do this, right? Remember, I'm just doing this in the chat. It's not a trained project, right? So from that point, I might turn around and say, now can you give me the HTML code and link for this, which I can then build into GitHub and onto GitHub. So basically GitHub is where you can host a HTML link. So that is where I went on to. I've clicked off it now, but basically in essence, once you've got the HTML, you can then publish it as an actual live link. So that can now be used by my clients and used by different people. Oh, I've used the wrong one. I've got it in a WhatsApp chat somewhere else. But in reality, guys, like, you can do some absolutely mad level stuff, and you don't need to be coming in with crazy level, high level stuff. But when it comes to anything that you have in your business now, guys, whether it is an interactive lead magnet, whether you are launching an event, where you are building a new product, whether you are building a website, where you are launching a new offer, this type of stuff can literally be done in seconds now, like legitimately done in seconds. But this is just a basic starting point. I don't want to overwhelm people with AI on this channel, right? I want people to understand it and not get beaten up by it. So then they get to a point. See what I mean? That's a pretty cool looking page as well, isn't it? But that's just built me a HTML link, which then I can then go back and forth. I'm doing that on Claude Code now, but I could go onto GitHub, get that set up, get that loaded, boom, that's a page that is now interactive and can be used. I could get opt-in set up into it, connect email nurturing into it, and whatever else as well. So the only thing and the follow-up that I want you to basically have from this today, guys, is I literally just want you to go on to capabilities, go down to the bottom, click onto code execution and file creation. I want you to remember, or even just take a picture right now of these little things that I've put down on here with Claude capabilities. Nope, not that one. This is where it gets frustrating, because I never do stuff on chat. I always do stuff in projects, right? But I want you to just basically take a picture of that, right, and just literally start having a play around with it. That's the only thing I want you to do. Start playing around with the capabilities of it, right? And then if you're obviously at a point where you've not even set this up or not even started, then I potentially think that's where you need to look at getting some support with it. Legitimately, like, that single document would be worth like £20,000 for me. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, how I use Claude now has replaced a £30,000 to £40,000 a month team with an agency and a marketing and content team, increased my profit margins by 28%, enabled me to do things that was never humanly possible before in any way, shape or form. It is absolutely wild. So if you are in that spot where you're like, I really don't have a clue what's going on here, I need some support with this, then I think that you need to reach out. And if you want to book a call with us, the link is in my description in my YouTube bio. You can check out my website, find out more about me, what I'm about, what our programs are. I'm very fully transparent and open when it comes to everything that we do. And if you want support and join the little army that we've got going on here, then I'd love to see you inside this program, and I hope to see you on inside at some point.